maskaxdii dunidu malaasan mawjadaheeda kala miirtay ee macnaysay maarkii qarsoona
To start grammar. Yesterday we talked as a teacher. We talked about what's grammar. We know grammar. What is? We said grammar is the art of putting the right words in the right place. Yani grammar wax kala maana leeyahay wax kala of just to put the right words in the right places. In a grammar we have different kinds, as you know, in the language. So these different kinds are intended to use in different ways. For example, we have nouns, we have verbs, we have adjectives, we have prepositions, we have pronouns, we have exclamation, we have articles. So every part of the grammar has got a special way of using in the language. Now, when we come to nouns, compound nouns, we have different kinds of nouns, as you know. Who can tell me the different kinds of nouns we have? As a teacher, you have to remember when you are teaching a noun, the student may ask you questions. How many kinds of nouns are there? What kind of nouns do we have? We have different kinds of nouns. These nouns, you have to already master them. You have to already tell them the kinds of nouns we have in the language. Because sometimes you get appropriate nouns which shows you how to use appropriate noun used for the people. It's a particular name, particular nouns used for the people, used for animals, used for places. So if you don't know, the student may ask you this question: what's a proper noun? You have to already know the meaning, how the proper nouns are used. Sometimes he may ask you what the proper nouns start with, teacher. If you don't say they start with capital letters, he may understand that you don't know. So this is a very important thing. You have to always, as a teacher, now here we have compound nouns. We have also common nouns. What are the common nouns? People may ask you before you come to this topic, or you may introduce them before you come to this topic. Tell them we have proper nouns. We have also common nouns. They may ask you what are the common nouns. Common nouns are common names used for people, for animals, like a boy, like a goat, like this. You have to express these things. If you don't know, the students may see that your knowledge of the language is very poor. So you have to get prepared, as we said, when you are teaching. Before we said, well, you have to get the knowledge of the subject. It's very important. Knowing the knowledge of the subject is very important. Planning, you have to plan the topics or the lessons that you are going to teach. What the students are going to ask you from this side. Now you are teaching a noun. What kind of noun you are teaching? What are the other parts of the nouns that we have? You have to prepare. You have to plan. You have to assign topics that you are going to teach. Then the student will respect you. The respect comes from that area. If you know your subject, if you know how to teach, the way you are teaching, the way you are using everything, the students will respect you because they know that you are helping them. You are giving, because students have got special interest for the learning of the language. They are motivated because some of them are going to use or to learn the other subjects which are written in English. So in here, you find we have compound nouns. before you ask them what are the compound nouns. The beginning, the student they should, write, tell them, don't teach them. Teachers, teacher-centered education is what the teacher is always talking. He is standing in front of the students, talking all the time. They say, talk and talk. That means the teacher is talking. He is writing the things on the whiteboard or on the blackboard. But this is not your job. The responsibility will go in the hands of the students. They have to answer the questions, whatever they are told that they have started it. When they cannot do it, maybe you may help them. You have to help them at that time. But you are not in a position now as a teacher to help the students before they do the exercise. Because in this book, in book 3, you will find that the exercises are there. There are some examples. After they read the examples, or you may give them the examples. You may you explain the examples written in the book. When they understand it, let them do the exercise. Don't do the exercise for them. And evaluate after that. Assess whether they have understood or not that topic. This is very important, the teacher. So here in a compound nouns, we have, when we look here, the objective, use compound nouns. What do we mean using compound nouns? What do we mean? That means students should use the compound nouns appropriately, to put in the right place, to use them properly. This is what we mean. Okay, so here the objective saying tell learners to identify compound nouns. Here we can, what can we understand from here to identify compound nouns? There are different ways of using the compound nouns. Compound nouns are not written in one way. There are different ways, maybe 3 ways that the students can see from the book. So before they start, ask them questions. Who can give me some compound nouns? Okay, who can give me a single compound noun? There is what we call single compound noun. They may see classroom, they may see housewife, they may say, a school teacher. So ask them. When they give you the compound nouns, you may classify them. These parts of compound nouns, separated compound nouns, single compound nouns, hyphenated compound nouns. They will get asking these questions. How many compound nouns are there in the that we have? So even let them use the dictionary. They may get, ask them to take a dictionary and to find some compound nouns from the dictionary. Not only this book. There are, maybe they will not get enough compound nouns from the English book. So students have to get, there are, as I told you before in this topic, there are books which are given, you have a lot of vocabulary in there, which are talking about or mentioning different parts of the life. Now here, in a compound noun, read the passage and use dictionary, explain what compound noun should be hyphenated. Now you can see from here, the students are reading the passage. They go back. Teacher are asking them to go back, to read the book again. Why are they reading the book now? Before, we used to, the students were getting some grammar meaning from vocabulary words. Now, when we come to grammar, still we are talking about the unit, the passage. Here we say, read a passage itself or use a dictionary. When they read the passage, let the students find that, the compound nouns in the passage. they can select it, they can collect it, the compound nouns from this passage. Because there are some words, some compound nouns in the passage, and they identify this. Ask them, let them sit even in pairs and select it, or in a groups, or individually. Then, after that, if they have got a dictionary, tell them to use the dictionary to find some compound nouns from the dictionary. So, in the dictionary, if they look at the last part, or there are special parts which we can have parts of the language, so they can check from there. They can find, maybe they may find from there some compound nouns. So let them also use the dictionary. The problem, as I said, we have in our schools, students don't use, the library. They don't go to the library. They don't find any information from the library. Besides this, they don't have any dictionaries. You don't find them. If you go to the neighboring countries, as I told you before, that you find many students. You find students are assigned to take the dictionaries. Because dictionaries, you find the meaning of the vocabulary, meaning of the words. You find, whatever it is, whether it's a grammar, whether a literature, you find a lot of things from the dictionary. But if you don't, even I believe personally, the students cannot use vocabulary, cannot use the dictionary. Even those who are in the universities, I believe they cannot. So how the students can learn? How the students can master? How the students can gain parts of a speech? How can they gain? Because in the dictionary, you find when it is written in front of the word "n," which mentions a noun. Or, for example, agree, you find a "v," which is a verb. Or you find a care, "n." What is "n"? What is the meaning of "n"? In front of the care, there is "n." "N" means noun. Okay? Careful, you find also careful. JC, something like this. So what is the meaning of that? It means it's an adjective. So dictionary is very important. That is why it's written here, using a dictionary. You find even the names of the parts of speech abbreviated. Your students can learn from there. So you can help them to use the dictionary and explain which compound nouns. Here we can see there are 3 parts of compound nouns. An example, you can give them this example. But they have to do the exercise. There are, I think, 3 exercises related to compound nouns. So it is not, the job of the teacher to work on this exercise in the book. What is the job of the teacher? The job of the teacher is to give them an order, to tell them to do this work, to tell them the time, to give them enough time to work on this. Because in this exercise, in the book, we have almost 3 exercises related to compound nouns. In compound nouns, if I give you an example, we have single words or single words. What do we mean by single words? That means the words are joined. They work as a single word. They are joined. They look like as a single word. Like here, look here. This is a work book. Work book, if we separate the words, they are different. For example, work is the meaning of work, and the meaning of a job, of a book. So they are joined together and they became one word. This word is called single word, which is a compound word. Ask the students before you give tell them this. Ask them to give you other words which are work as a single word. They may give you a classroom. They may give you what you call a housewife, These are the examples before they do the exercise. They are supposed to do exercise, but let them understand it in the beginning. So here we have what you call a single word as a workbook. We have a single word. This is called a single word. We have also separated words. Okay, what do we mean by separated words? The words act as a compound noun, but they are separated. Like what we call bank account. Bank account. This is separated. You write bank separately from account, but they work as a compound noun. So this is called also a separated compound. We have also tap water. Here you have tap water, and tap water is also a separated word. You write tap in a special way and water another way. So this is another. Also we have separated, hyphenated words. These hyphenated words, there is a dash in between them. The dash is there, so they are separated and they act as a compound noun. Like here, doorbell. You can hear like this one. They are hyphenated. There is a hyphen in between them, doorbell. So these are the three parts of the compound nouns. Single words, separated, and hyphenated. So tell them, teacher, give them this example, but let the students work on this. And because this is very important in our grammar, they have to understand it. When they understand it, you have to tell them, support them. And when the students are working on the exercises, there are activities and exercises. Do you know the difference between activity and exercise? When it comes to an activity, students are supposed to do the job in the class. When there's an exercise, they may go outside. You give them this as a homework. So there are a lot of activities they do in the class. So these activities in this book about compound nouns, they do in the class. So you can check them, you can go around the class, you can support those who have no ability to understand it. You explain for them. Because we said there are students are different in ability. Some of them are talented. They can understand things very easily. Others, it will take them some time. They need the support of the teacher sometimes. Let them understand it. When they understand it, you can assist them. The students, those who are, have no ability to understand. There are some students who cannot, they understand things very easily because their effort, their ability of understanding is very low. Their IQ is very low. The IQ of the students are different. Some of them are above the level. They already understood or they already knew what you are teaching, what you are telling them. Okay, the IQ of the other group is normal, is average. They may understand whatever you tell them and they go ahead 100%. The other group is above 100. The other group is below average, maybe 80% they can understand. So these are the ones who are going to be assisted later. So everything a teacher, students, when they do the activity, it is the responsibility of the students to do. But you are supporting them. You support them, you facilitate, you always advise, you tell them how to do, what to do, give them an example. But don't work and give them always matrana. You are not matrana. This book is not intended for the teacher, intended. It's intended for the student. Now when we come to writing, here, we talked about yesterday, we have another teacher, Mr. Abdi Hakim. Yesterday, he talked about informal letter. The difference between formal letter and informal letter. Do you remember? Ask the students, if they remember how to perform, what are the criteria, what are the ways written formal letters. Ask them. Okay? When they give you the feedback, when they give you how to write, you can go ahead. But the problem of some school, some of the teachers, they don't give when lesson planning, there's an introduction part. When the lessons are planned for the student, we have introduction part, we have presentation part, we have activity part, we have evaluation part. This introduction part of the lesson, you have to. The teacher is supposed to ask them what they have taken yesterday. What did we take yesterday? The students must put their hands up and tell you that whether they remember or not. Some of them did not remember. But in this, when you ask them, when they know that you are going to ask to have some briefs of what they have taken yesterday, they may read the lessons. But if the teacher is not in a position, if the teacher is not active, if the teacher is not well planned, if he does not plan his lesson properly every day, students will not read anything. They will not come. So maybe the other teacher gave you informal letters, how to write informal letters. So ask them informal letters. How many addresses do you have in informal letters? How many addresses? Is there one address? Where shall we put the address of the sender? Shall we put in the right place, or shall we ask them that question? Okay. What are how do we start it? When we are starting the informal letter, how do we start? If you don't know the person, what do you say? Do you say dear? Do you say, so you ask them, what is the body of the informal letter? What language can you use when you are writing informal letter? Ask them. Can you use greeting? Okay, can you use whatever you want? To whom do you send, the informal letters? Ask them. Do you send it to your parents or your friends okay, ask that question. After they understand, give you the feedback properly, you can also tell them there is another a letter called formal letter. Ask them, what is the use of this writing of a formal letter? You can ask them this question. Okay? Because they have understood informal letters are sent to parents, they are sent to friends, they are sent to relatives. But what about this? What about these formal letters? You can understand the meaning of formal and informal. We have got, formal education, non-formal education, and informal education. You understand from there. Formal letter is a letter which is set properly, okay, which has got two addresses, the right address and the left address. The right address is on the top of the paper or on the top of the writing, and it has got maybe a date, and it is intended the sender of the letter. He has to write his address on the top right hand side, while he is writing the receiver of the paper on the left hand side. So formal letters also have got two addresses, and also they have got a subject. The objective. There is a subject. RA means the subject. Why this letter? What is the objective? What is the purpose of sending this letter? There should be a subject used for this. Then the body. There is no greeting at all. Students in formal letters, teachers, or the one who is sending a letter cannot use, impolite words. Cannot use, he has to use very correct English, correct words, respect words, carrying respect. If you write some impolite words, maybe it would be a problem, the person you have sending it. So let the learners read the explanation of business letter. Okay? A business letter is also a formal letter. You understand it. Also, we call official letter, business letter. It has got these names. So business letter is, here he says no taking. Maybe he's no taking. He may take, when the teacher explaining this, the formal letter, or he may, the students may take some notes from it. So let learners read the explanation of business letter. There is a business letter in the book. We have a business letter in the book here. So the students you have to tell this as teacher, tell the students teacher to read this business letter in the book. Let them read, let them understand it, let them see the format of the letter. They discover there is a format of the letter in the textbook. You are told we have it is in the textbook. So let them read. Tell them to open that page, okay, and read. The formal letter you have in that page. When they understand it, let them in groups in textbook and make them their own notes. They may write some notes, prepare how the formal letters are set. So they write some notes from it with their maybe exercise book. After that, what will happen? In a group, they discuss. In a small group. They sit in a small group. Because the problem as a teacher we have in schools, we don't put them, students in a groups or in a pairs. And this is a kind of child-centered education. Always the teacher wants to talk, but this is very important. We have to develop this system. Putting the students in groups, they have to sit. Sometimes when you ask the teachers, why don't you put the students in groups? They say, that the room is very small. The chairs are not, appropriate for putting the students as a groups. This is not true. That you can put them, the students, in 5 or in 4 or in 3 or as a pairs. So here, very important, they discuss, they learn from each other. They learn, those who are slow readers, those who cannot understand, they learn from talented ones. So let them sit together, let them discuss, what is how to perform a formal letter. What are the conditions do you want to make, to take when we are writing formal letters? Here, that is why it is very important as a group to discuss. Let learners discuss in small groups and correct the format of the writing of the letter. Our teacher, as the former teacher, Mr. Abdi Hakim, told you when he was explaining you the informal letter, he told you there are special format that we use when we are writing informal letters. Now the same thing, there is a system by using informal letters, a small format which we have to, which we are supposed to follow. In a pottery, now we have told you in Form 3 and in Form 4, we have told you, as you know, teacher, we don't have, in the former books, like Ocean, we didn't have, pottery. But in this book, when you come to book 3, Form 2, and book 4, Form 4, you get a lot of pottery. You get a pottery concerning related to Somali community. Now, here pottery, it explains you some terms. it is explaining before you started the pottery, what are the terms that we use for this. For example, we have in the pottery the words which are written here. For example, in the pottery, we have explained the poetic terms. There are special terms. Special terms. The terms we use all the time, every time when we are, developing a pottery. So these terms are very important in, to know as a teacher. Okay. These terms, it says here the objective, saying students or he has to explain, okay, poetic terms like this. The student should be able to explain the poetic terms. Like the persona. Okay, persona. What's a persona? We can find from here. Persona is, the character of the poem. When the writer is addressing, the poem, there's a character. So the character of the poem, we find, the activity from there is called persona. Also, we have you, and the person addressed, to the poem, we use it as a you. So we can find from here also, and also we have the theme, the topic we have for this theme. What's about this poem? So these are the terms, the words. So it's saying the student should be able to explain poetic terms like persona, you, and the theme. Okay, analyze the theme in poem. He has to analyze. He has to tell the importance or the meaning of what you call the theme. Here, if you look, let learners read the poem. There is a poem, okay, in the book. Okay, there is a poem in the book. Okay, this poem, the title of the poem is I Am Gabui. Okay, so the title, ask the students, what is the title? What do we mean by Gabui? What does it talk? Because this is the theme of the poem. Ask the student, what do we mean by this? And answer the poetry questions. Okay, what are these poetry questions the students are supposed to answer? It's written here, questions such as, it is setting, the way the poem is setted, the way the poem is written. When the poems are written, there are different ways. Some of them may end with special words. The words may be repeated from time to time. So the way they are set. Also the thematic analysis, how to analyze thematically the way the thematic or the content is analyzed is very important for the student, okay, to develop. What kind of language also use it? Okay, what kind of language? Is it a language which is, has got, repeating all the time? What kind, is it a language which is carrying a respect? What kind of language? What language the student is using according? So poems are used a different way, in different kinds, in different settings. So this is also very important. Language, you said it, and the subject matter. What is about? What is talking about this? What is concerned about? These are also important. Also, it says note making, reciting, and oral poem. You have to, students should be able to note, to write some notes from it, while the teacher, okay, they are reading, the poem. Let them take some notes, okay? Because these students, these words are asked. So maybe when they are reading, they have to get some notes from it. Also, recite an oral poem. There are, poems, they have to recite it. Reciting is they read it, you know. There are special way of saying the poem. Okay, there are special voice people use when they recite the poem, special way. So this is an oral poem. We have said poems are different. In literature, we have different kinds. We have oral literature, which consists of different topics about, you know, the poem, the riddles, the idiomatic expressions, the proverbs, etc. So what is this? Here the assessment is written questions. They write some questions about making a notice from it. Okay, so according to these written questions, the teacher, okay, is making evaluation whether they have understood or not. So this topic is very new to us. Okay, in Somalia, when you go to the neighboring countries, students are taught, you know, this topic, poetry, very seriously. But according to our, in our schools, we do not usually use, you know, the poetry. Even in the universities, you don't find it. Maybe when we were in La Folle, we used it, you know, to get different kinds of poetry. But now here, you don't find it most of the time. Now in this books, in book 3, grade 3, and in grade 4, you'll find them. Maybe, inshallah ta'ala, in our, you know, our teacher, Mr. Hakim, will give you, you know, more about, you know, the poetic terms, how to develop the poets, and what the teacher is supposed to do when students are learning. What are the activities? What are the methods the student will follow? And thank you very much. And you know, this is what we are. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, وَتَعِيَّهَا أُذُنٌ وَعِيَّةٌ. That means if you tell some people, they listen carefully and they take it as it is. Others, they listen it and they don't do it. So it is your responsibility as a teacher. You are to carry it is your duties and responsibility of to take what you are told and to follow the systems and the ways and the methods that you are told to do it. And finally, you and your students will succeed, inshallah. Thank you very much.